Hey folks, this is BestInSlot. Welcome back to our Mods of the Week Spotlight Show for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I'm your host, BestInSlot, here with my demon friend, Asmodeus. Say hello, Asmodeus. Hello! Bet you didn't expect him to sound like that, but that's what demons sound like. Fun fact. Asmodeus does have a disclaimer, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to do that voice for the next 10 minutes. Disclaimer, mods can and maybe will break your game. If they do, don't blame the mod makers, don't blame myself, and definitely don't blame Frontier. Just do it responsibly and cleverly, logically, and you should be okay, generally speaking. But, you know, if something goes wrong, you've probably messed up somewhere along the way, because generally speaking, things do work pretty bloody well. Right, with all that out of the way, we have tons of species to look at today. It's been a huge week in modding. I will say before we get started, most of these are replacement species rather than new species. The whole process of making a new species is currently still very tricky. It's taking a lot of time. There's a lot of bugs going on. And I think a lot of people are still kind of holding off a little bit and doing replacements rather than new species until it's an easier process. So I'm hopeful for the future we'll have a big glut of fantastic new species, but for now we're going to check out replacers, which it is worth keeping in mind. Most of these replacers will probably be probably is a hard word to say, will probably be made into new species in the future. So let's get started. We're going to kick things off with the Pick and Mix assortment by Sweetener. I love Pick and Mix, I'm just saying. And it replaces a bunch of different dinosaurs. The first one is Cyclops. An absolute beauty. This is an Ankylosaurus. I've got to say, Sweetener's really come a long way with their modding abilities since the start of Evolution 1. Really, really cool. I mean, it's a very funky looking dinosaur, don't get me wrong. I think that's kind of the point. Teeny tiny eyeballs, but very interesting head shape. I love that thick neck as well. It's a big chunky dinosaur. It's a Morosaurus. It's a Lambeosaurine from the late Asian Cretaceous, and it's very, I love the crest shape as well. The colours are fantastic. It's just a big weird it's very interesting. It's got like a bit of a Dino-Kairos to it in that it's got this big chunky body, that thick neck, and then it's got this teeny tiny shovelly sort of head end tip bit there. A very unusual looking dinosaur. Looks fantastic. Trying to get some funky colours. There we go. Look at that beast. What an absolute beauty. We've got a lot to look at today, so we're going to speed forward. But another one by Sweetener. This replaces the Sauropelta. So this is a Ankylosaurus, and that is a Ankylosaurin from the early Cretaceous of England, actually. One of the earliest dinosaurs ever discovered all the way back in 1832, which is pretty crazy. And if you want, you can Google this or go see it yourself in person, but Crystal Palace Dinosaurs, which of course is a world-renowned dinosaur tour walking thing with all these immensely outdated recreations of dinosaurs, but they've been there for decades, for centuries, these beautiful old things, and they keep doing charity drives to renovate them and stuff like that. Really beautiful place. They actually have a Ankylosaurus there as well, so definitely worth checking out. It's just a big chunky Ankylosaurid, really. A big thick skull. There's a theme going on here. It's got a very square head. That's a that's a TRT jaw right there. It really is. It's been on the juice a little bit, but yeah, very cool. Right, we're going to come back to our land dinosaurs in a... I don't know why I say land dinosaurs, you know what I mean. We're going to come back to our dinosaurs in a little bit, but we do have a pterosaur to take a look at, replacing my beloved Tapajara. Sweetener said on their post, this is another from the Pick and Mix pack, that they replaced creatures that they thought people would care less about. And then he picked Tapajara, and I don't know what to do with that information. It's very sad. Tapajara is the best pterosaur. Until now, maybe. Until now. So replacing the Tapajara is a Tupandactylus. Now, Tupandactylus, you'll remember, people are actually debating when we got a glimpse of the Tapajara whether the Tapajara was actually, in fact, a Tupandactylus. And Tapajara is how you pronounce it. I know I say Tapajara all the time, but it is a harder J. We were debating whether it's Tupandactylus or Tapajara, but the crest shape in particular gave away that it probably was a Tapajara. Funnily enough, Tupandactylus is a Tapajarid. So basically there's a family called Tapajaridae, which encompasses, I think it's 4 different genuses. I can't remember what the other 2 are called, but one of the genus is It's Tapajara, sorry, so Tapajara is one genus, and Tupandactylus is another genus. So you can see how they're very, very similar in style. The beak is very similar. The crest is much more developed, of course, with the Tupandactylus. It's gigantic. Can one of you be in the light, please? It's absolutely gigantic, but other than that, there's quite a lot of similarities going on here, which means it makes a lot of sense as a replacement. I gotta say, it's pretty cool. This gigantic crest, I think, is super effective, super colourful, super bright, super over the top. Very, very cool to look at. Big fan of that one. Cool. And finally, in the Pick and Mix pack, we have a... I was going to call it a Plesiosaur. It's a Plesiosaurus replacement. Okay, this is Pistosaurus. I hope that's how you pronounce it. It's Pisto or Pisto. I'm going to go Pisto. It's Pistosaurus. And this is it's not a Plesiosaurid, although it might look like it. It is closely related. But it's actually it's from the Middle Triassic, from France and Germany. And I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called. But, God, that's a weird head shape. But it's basically, it's just very like an early iteration of what would eventually become Plesiosaurs. Although it is in the same overarching group. It's actually been called the oldest subaquatic flyer. That is the definition that lots of places, this article in 2017 gave, 2013, 2019, 20-something, in the 10s. Didn't see an explanation for that, but I'm assuming by subaquatic flyer it means a creature that travels subaquatically, like under the water, in a flying motion, as in by using what would be wings. Essentially, you see a fish move and it's using the fin at the back, right? This has flippers. So this could have been the first creature to use this flipper-style, wing-style flipper to travel through the water. And you can see how that would then be iterated upon and become Plesiosaurus and Elasmosaurus and all those creatures that we know and love. So, yeah, pretty cool little creature there, little part of history. Not the biggest fan of the skin, bit weird with this motley, wishy-washy filter clouds pattern, but yeah, very cool. Love the head shape, very, very strange, and overall a cool addition to our box. One thing I really like about this pack in a way is that it's not too dissimilar from the base creature. You know, this isn't a million miles away. I like the skin a lot more. It's not a million miles away from Plesiosaurus in terms of, you know, the morphology. So, and it's the same with the other 3, so you can kind of bring them in as temporary replacements. You don't really lose anything, but you get to make some different exhibits and mix things up a little bit more, which I think is cool beans. And that's an expert on cool beans. I know what I'm talking about. Right, we're moving on to other people now. The next up is the Jurassic World Parasaurolophus by Mega Gaming Rex. But it's not just a Jurassic World Parasaurolophus. It's a beauty. Oh, what a stunner. Very excited about this one. So this is, of course, the Jurassic World Dominion Parasaurolophus, brought to life in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Now, I didn't quite nail the skin colouring. I think I was meant to drop this. I've got this on... Top tip, by the way, if you design a skin for a film, recreation, and you're going to put it on Nexus Mods, please list in the description of the mod which skin combination you used to match with the film. Otherwise, we have to release every single skin to try to find out. I assumed Great Sandy Desert, given the preview colour, was about right, and it does look similar, but I would have got rid of the Rana in retrospect. But beyond that, it's nearly spot on. I would have maybe swapped Rana for something blue, but very, very cool looking. I mean, I love the Dominion Para. People love the Dominion Para. It's definitely been... super popular lately, given the advert and the previews we've had. They did mention that the neck gets a little bit weird. It's chunky. I love the shaping going on here on the skull. I've got to say, this is leagues above the Evolution Para for me. I've never really been a big fan of the Jurassic World Para, and therefore not a big fan of the Evolution iteration of that Para. But the Dominion Para looks really, really good. And looks really cool here in-game as well. So big shout out to Mega Gaming Rex for that, because what an absolute beauty she is. I really want to use this in my parks. Look at that. She's stunner. Oh, I actually love it so much. Okay, right, we have to move on because I'll just stare at her all day. Next up, we have a Albertosaurus replacement. Now, as per usual, I choose random colours, and so if the colours end up a bit funky, as they sort of have, look at them, as they sort of have here, that's not my fault, it's not really the mod maker's fault either. This is Uteranus, made by Nano replacing the Albertosaurus, our big feathery boy from early Cretaceous China. Big fan of Uteranus. Now, he said, Nano has already admitted this on the mod page, can you really call it a Uteranus if it's not feathered? It is a little bit verging on pointless because Uteranus' big feature, the thing that makes Uteranus the Uteranus, is that it is this feathered tyrant, and it's such a fantastic display of a large theropod having very pronounced feather coverage. It's a very important dinosaur in that regard. But despite that, you know, it's a plucked Uteranus. You know, it's fine. I really like the new skull shape, and you know, if you want to change from the Albertosaurus, then you've got a really cool Uteranus as a standby. I'm wondering, I mean, Nano has done some fantastic feather work in the past, and maybe even on the Uteranus, so I'm wondering if that's a problem with Evolution 2 specifically at this point in time, and maybe again something we'll see changed in the future. Right, 2 more to go, 3 more to go, 1 more to go, very hard to decide. This is a Min-Me replacement. I know, everyone wants to replace the Min-Me, it's very sad. Oh, it is adorable, though. So, this is, of course, Lystrosaurus. It's actually really well made. This is Lystrosaurus by Yosoba. And Lystrosaurus, of course, is appearing in Jurassic World Dominion. We saw that image a long time ago now of that Lystrosaurus in the cage with the face mask on. That must have been early last year, the earliest, or something like that. So Lystrosaurus, actually, along with the Jurassic World Dominion Paro, we've already got 2 species of dinosaur we know are appearing. Wait until nearer the time, we'll have all of them, it'll be crazy. But yeah, Lystrosaurus is really cool, replaces a Min-Me. Lystrosaurus is a herbivorous therapsid from the late Permian and early Triassic. Basically, therapsids, forms of synapsids at that time, they were basically... well, therapsids specifically, they were kind of closer to mammals than to reptiles, basically. It's all a little bit hodgepodge, a little bit messy at that point in time, but once they weren't put into their specific mammal box, they were eventually going to come there. There was early signs of what would become mammalian features. A lot of features we would identify as mammalian now were first identified early on in these therapsids. So, despite its odd appearance and it's slightly, you can see how it kind of feels slightly reptilian, slightly mammalian, but it is definitely more mammalian than reptilian in terms of its genealogy and where it would end up, and its feature set, like it's an app. Right, I didn't have room for this next one, but we're going to pop it out together. It's a strange sentence. Let's pop it out together, YouTube. You and me, we can do this. We need a compy. This one is, again, it's another meme one. This is not going into Mods of the Week, as much as I do adore it. But I do need to see it in game. So this is a compy replacement made by Viral Cyclops. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I don't know if it's meant to be Cyclops, but it's spelled Cyclops, so it is what it is. Amazing. I actually love that. That's very cool. So, as you can see, it replaces Compsognathus with little Indominus Rexes. It's actually kind of amazing. You could pretend. You'd have to maybe make the head a little bit bigger and stuff, but this isn't a million miles away from just having a straight up baby Indominus Rex. Although it does still hop around like a compy and looks a bit bizarre. It's very strange. It's a bit of a meme, but it's fun and it's funny and I appreciate it. And it is terrifying, that para. Oh, hello. Oh, I went too far. I went too far. No, YouTube, I'm sorry. Oh well. Right, so I've got one last thing to show you. Not a species, this one. If you saw my lagoon video the other day, I definitely recommend checking that out. If you are using mods and you want a really cool build idea, or just to see what mods can let you do if you're kind of on the fence or you're a console player and you're curious, go check out my Lagoon Forest video. Credit to Luca for that idea. But Kyodenic brought out an expanded scenery mod. And it isn't here, as you can see in my this area here, it's not there. But if we hit the H key, it opens up this ginormous new foliage menu with, I think, 603, 607 alternative forms of foliage. And basically, it's insanity. As I tell you, it's absolute insanity, folks. 600 pieces of foliage. Rudy Rencamel, who is another... I want to say another because it makes me sound bad, but it's a very talented creative YouTube man. Has a really cool build using these, showcasing the kind of things you can do, and it's just it's mad. It's absolute mad. Tons of options, tons of variety. You can build really varied, beautiful exhibits, and definitely recommend you go give this a mod. This is my mod of the week. As much as I adore every single mod I've showcased today, of course, including the little compies. This one in particular just, yeah, I mean, the creative control we've got now to make beautiful parks, beautiful foliage for our dinosaurs, to decorate our parks, thanks to this mod, it has gone up absolutely leaps and bounds. If you're playing modded, you should install this mod. I really think it is that easy. It is also the kind of thing I think should be in the game by default, personally, but I suspect it wouldn't have been possible on consoles at all, potentially. And therefore Frontier wanted to limit it somewhat. I think that's a little bit sad, and I wish that wasn't the case, but modding's here to save the day. What can I say? Right, that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. I will link all these mods down below in the description. There's a Google Doc list with every single mod of the week, so you can find all the links in there and go check it out for yourselves. Definitely go endorse those mods, download them, give the mod makers a lot of love and support. They deserve it. The Dominion Para in particular doesn't have many comments or anything right now, and it's really well done, so definitely go give that one some love. Thank you to all the mod makers keeping this community going. Very excited to see where it's going to go in the future. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. And from me and Asmodeus, goodbye! It's goodbye from... Wait, let me do that like a proper... How do I do that like a news reporter? So, that's it from us at Channel 12 News. That's it from us at Channel 12 News. From Asmodeus, goodbye! And from me, goodbye. Something like that. Thanks for joining me. Cheers, much as always. Bye-bye.